What are your thoughts on the new Mortal Kombat and South of Midnight? I don't know anything about South of Midnight. I find the Mortal Kombat thing kind of sad, to be honest. I don't like one of the reasons I tend not to like video games, or sorry, not video games, why I tend not to like fighting video games is because it's like, oh, here's like 50 games in a series where we keep the gameplay almost exactly the same and we just like update the visuals or whatever. But with Mortal Kombat 1, they're like doing a story reboot or whatever. Do something new. It's also tedious, you know? Like, yeah, it's like FIFA games. It's like stays the same every time. Yeah. Street Fighter at least doesn't come out as often, but Mortal Kombat comes out so often, man. Vaush is hilariously wrong because he doesn't know fighting games. Dog, look at how many fucking Mortal Kombats there are. I know not all of them are main series games, but the main series ones all play. No, I am not going to tolerate people being contrarian on this, okay? I'm not going to tolerate it, all right? These games mostly play the same. Don't pretend otherwise. I know that if you're really into them, there are like minute differences that could, but I've been really into Smash Bros since the N64 days, and they're mostly the same. Since Melee, they've been mostly the same. They play the same, and certainly since the Wii U and then up to this, it's just like it's the same game. It's just like, well, it gets shinier. Wait, actually wrong. No, no, no. Oh my god. Oh my god, you guys are actually gonna listen. Just because this is your stupid fucking autistic fixation and you're hyper, dude, bro, didn't you know they added trips and brawl, bro? The system for ledge grabs was totally revamped, and they play basically the same. If you don't think that, that's because you're an autistic who only plays one fucking game, and you don't know enough about how different games can play to understand what different games feel like. All right? Yes. All the Mortal Kombat games, not like the Game Boy Advance ones, but like the mainline Mortal Kombat games, yes, they're all pretty much the same. Games in a series tend to be pretty much the same, with different levels of tedium. Sometimes they innovate at different extents or whatever, but like oftentimes no. I guarantee you that there are Mortal Kombat games that we could look at without graphical changes that are like basically just like the same game. Like, oh, they added 2 extra frames of hit detection, and the hurt box for the Sub-Zero's hurt box used to be this shape, but now it's this shape. Like, no, it's it's not like significant differences. Okay, it's tweaking. They're tweaking a formula. Same with the FIFA games. Same with the NBA Jam. Whatever. I don't like games like this. I think Smash games have enough differences in combat to be content to be significant. That's because you don't know what. Again, like you don't know what I'm talking about. You infantile. You have no clue. If you, I'm not. We're talking about the difference between making a full new game and tweaking an existing formula. The NBA games tweak an existing formula. The FIFA games tweak an existing formula. The Mortal Kombat games tweak an existing formula. Okay, the Smash games tweak an existing formula, albeit to a lesser extent than Mortal Kombat or FIFA or whatever. There's a different like same with like fucking Call of Duty or whatever. Those games, these like serial franchise games, Assassin's Creed, it's the same game. It's the same game. The fundamental experience of playing these games is basically the same. The fundamental experience of playing Mortal Kombat 1 2023 will be about the same as the fundamental experience of playing Mortal Kombat 11 or X or whatever. The fundamental experience. Same with the Pokemon games. Most of them. Most of the Pokemon games, pretty much same fundamental experience, okay? Would you say that Soulsborne games are the same because they have the same formula? To an extent, yeah, 100%. Like, From Software is like tweaking and refining. I think I would argue Sekiro is enough of a difference. I think you could say Bloodborne, the Souls games, and Elden Ring are all in like the tweaky variety. I think Sekiro, the actual gameplay experience of Sekiro, I think is quite different to the other ones. But yeah, I would say so. I would argue they do it in a way that's like interesting. I don't think fighting games tend to, at least not to the same extent. Certainly, there is a significantly larger difference in effort between Dark Souls 3, Bloodborne, and Elden Ring than there is between Mortal Kombat 10, 11, and 12. You know, like, I think that's pretty obvious. I haven't talked about Street Fighter, Kaz. At least acknowledge other fighting games tweak the formulas more. The difference between Guilty Gear XX and XRD are minute but astronomical changes. This is the problem with talking to fighting game fans. Minute but astronomical changes. Like, there's no amount of dick they could eat that would silence them on the... Guys, I know, okay? I did Smash tourneys. I'm fully aware of the significance and a difference of a slight change in the hitbox of the, dude, bro, block canceling now happens before the thing, rather. I know, I'm aware. That's not, I'm not saying that they're the same identical game. I'm saying that it's the same gameplay experience. No, you don't know, Vaush? I do know, thank you. 2D Siggy, I'm never going to move you over. You're fully in the sauce. You're fully in the sauce now. Vaush, I disagree in your interpretation here, but I don't even use that style of framework because I wouldn't call DS1 and Elden Ring the same game. No, I wouldn't either. But I would call a lot of the Pokemon games the same game because they're the same fucking game. They're the same fucking game. You know what expansion packs used to be? Calling different Pokemon games different games is like saying that like Half-Life Blue Shift isn't the same game as Half-Life 1 or whatever. It's the same game. It's an expansion pack. It's the exact same game. They've just added more stuff into it. It's the exact same fucking game. How does this differ from basically all sequels? There are sequels that have like way more significant differences to the point where the fundamental gameplay experience is way different. The Witcher games, Witcher 1, 2, and 3, are all linked, I think, by like narrative. Like they're all linked by their story. But if they were all of different universes, like if you drop the connection with Geralt and Witchers and blah blah, and it's just like the game, but you swap the names out, nobody would think they're the same game, like at all. Though Witcher 3 is the same game as the two expansions, Witcher 3 Blood and Wine and Witcher 3 the other one, obviously, because they're just expansion packs. They're DLC. DLC is just the new term for expansion pack. I just don't like it when people sell DLC or expansion packs as an entirely new game and they pretend that it's a new game. Pokemon is terrible about it. Pokemon games are terrible, by the way. Horrible games. You have horrible taste. Seriously. They crap out these shit fucking games that are full of bugs. They're unfinished. They're unattractive. They can't even get the aesthetics right. You'd think it'd be a good aesthetic game, right? You could crank out a prettier game than the team that put out that fucking god-awful 3D mess, and a less buggy one too, with an indie studio in the same time frame. And in fact, I'm pretty sure they have before. Truly disgraceful. But they know you fucking pigs will eat whatever's thrown at you in the slop, so it gets to be one of the most profitable game series ever, with approximately $5 invested in every game. You know what I played recently? It was like Cassette Beasts. That was like Pokemon, kind of, though there were lots of meaningful changes. That was a lot of fun. I felt like there was a lot of unique spice thrown into that one. That one was pretty cool. That one was pretty cool. Pokemon ROM hacks are actually 1000% better than the original. Pokemon is cool because basically any change you could make to the original formula improves it. It's like Minecraft in that sense, though I will admit that, I do want to build a Spanish villa. I will admit that. So you're saying you want forever-style games, just like keep them adding new updates? No, I want them to stop making the game. I want new games, is what I want. I want new games. I think you'd really like the Splatoon games then. Well, I'm not 8, so probably not. I just checked out some high-level MK1 gameplay, and it's the same. Chat needs to shut the fuck up. Yeah, no, it's because when people get really invested in a series, the tiny tweaks and changes like make a lot of difference to them. But the problem is, I feel like it is both like I feel like it's very creatively damaging to have a content production model where you get people hooked on a very, very specific product, and then you just make more of it with very few iterations or changes because people are already hooked in the concept. So they're so into it that even slight differences feel like big ones to them. And then you have like a captive audience basically. And I just don't like, I feel like people are more creatively interesting and engaged as a whole when people will complete a game and think, wow, I wish I had more of that. Oh, too bad. And then they have to go find another game to play, you know? Or if there is going to be more of that, like another studio makes another game, another IP. I'm not saying I'm always against sequels, because there are plenty of sequels that like justify their existence, but a lot of them certainly do not. This is the 10th time you've done this rant, and I will never stop. Does this mean you have a problem with the concept of improving upon a good game concept / franchise? Like, I'm an RPG nut, and I love to see new tweaks in existing concept of the RPG. Well, games like RPGs are different from games like fighting games, because in RPGs, the vast majority of the content will be engaging with the specific story, places, and people. Like, it's a narrative game that you navigate through, like, choice-based changes to your character and engagements with other, like, conversational trees or whatever. Like, all of that stuff is, if you made a game, if you made like a giant RPG and then you use the exact same engine to make a new RPG in a new setting with new people, I don't think that's a tweak on the same formula. You're making a whole new fucking game. You're just using like a platform to build out. But it's different when it's like a fighting game, because in a fighting game, the mechanic, like the baseline, is the game. you know? The specific way in which you play it, like that is the game. It's you don't open up Mortal Kombat 1 and engage with 40 hours of new specific content based on the same format or engine or whatever. It's like the same, you know. I think it's different. Starfield comes out tomorrow. I'm not playing Starfield. I'm not playing a Bethesda. Are you guys? They made the last thing they made was Fallout 76. I'm not playing fucking Starfield. Are you fucking kidding me? Did you guys see that leak? The one where it was literally just Skyrim again? The fucking guard came up. Did you see that leak? The guard came up and it was what are you doing here? And then you can respond with two options, one of which being I'm so sorry and the other being I am evil, mohaha. And then he responded, I'm evil, mohaha. And the guard said, so you're going to go hard, are you? It's the same game. It's the same game. Have they even updated the engine? It's the same game. Bethesda is a trash studio, okay? And the only reason you all fell for it is because you liked the broken mess, like a million miles wide, 1 inch deep nonsense model of Oblivion and of Skyrim. And people fell for it, and you all fell for it. And the only good game in this entire runoff was the one not made by Bethesda, just using their engine. And the worst part of New Vegas was its engine. A lot of New Vegas was held back by the fact that Bethesda is shit at coding. And if you don't want me to do shit at coding, look at 76. 76 was like a nightmare. And I know it wasn't by the same team. Yeah, but they headed it. They promoted it. They talked about it to their people. Yeah, but yeah, exactly. Bethesda's a slop factory. No, I haven't played Morrowind, but it also came out 20 years ago. So I don't think its quality is indicative of the performance of Bethesda, the studio today. Vaush with the stupidly hyperbolic video game. Dude, if you think it's stupidly hyperbolic to say that Bethesda's a slop factory, then you're a pig, and you're eating the shit that they're shitting directly into your open mouth. How many times does this have to happen? You know what came out before 76? Fallout 4. Fallout 4 fucking sucked. Yes, it did. I have watched so many videos breaking it down. I've seen the cutscenes. I've seen the dialogue choices. Everything about it's dog shit. They cut it all down and made the shooting better. Wow, they made the shooting better than Fallout 3. Wow, incredible. Jesus. And everything was dog shit. The story didn't make sense. The writing was terrible. There's no meaningful decision making. Everything was bad. And Fallout 3 was bad too. Yeah, Fallout 3 was bad too. And Skyrim was bad. Yeah, Skyrim's really dumb. The only thing you guys remember about Skyrim is breaking the broken-ass game, the primal Pavlovian obsession with entering cave, crouch archer sniping. You remember the effects of 50 trillion mods that you have tried to install and then failed to because they weren't compatible with each other and the game wouldn't work. I bet, how many times have you guys made it beyond Whiterun recently? Oh, Skyrim was great. I'm going to boot it up again. Installs mod pack, uninstalls mod when the game crashed, tweaks. Multiple days later, you start the game, you do your thing, you get to Whiterun. Wow, that was fun. Okay, time to call it a day. And then you never play again. And then when you play again in 4 years, you're like, well, I should start from the beginning, obviously, because, like, what if I make different choices? Oh, time to start again, blah, 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 blah. Get to Whiterun. Oh, it was a good day, blah, blah, blah. See, they're not good games. I'm sorry. They're games that are phenomenal at hooking people with the promise of go anywhere, do anything, when in reality, it's not. You might as well just go play, like, a slop, like, shovelware Unity engine game where you can walk on a gigantic map the size of Antarctica and encounter, like, random spawning skeletons that you can clip through or whatever. It's nothing. It's garbage. It's dog shit. It's dog shit. It's dog shit. It's dog shit. And what's that one guy's name? What's the one guy's name? What's the Todd Howard? Todd Howard hates you. He would kill your mother if he could. He hates you. He lied every step of the way up to the release of 76 and continued to lie covering for the studio the entire time after. After every embarrassment, he never demonstrated a single bit of conciliatory, of apology. Everything had to be squeezed out of the company. And they lied about the apologies too. Why would I play Starfield? And yet everyone's like, oh, I can't wait to play Starfield. Why? The world's really big. Games with infinite maps. Play Minecraft. It's really big. Who cares? You all fell for this with fucking No Man's Sky. You fell for this. Dude, it's big world, big as universe, make planet. Wow, you can make planet? You fell for this before. Yeah, you know what else is really big? Outside. Go. 16 times the detail. Okay, fine. Splatoon enjoyers, you've made your fucking point. No, Nintendo's terrible at it, baby boy. Didn't they fix No Man's Sky? They didn't fix No Man's Sky by improving the initial premise. They fixed it by like adding a bunch of the shit they initially like lied about or misrepresented. Like nobody listen, okay? Being able to go anywhere and do anything means nothing. You can do that in real life. Go outside and die to a car. Great. What freedom? Isekai yourself into another world where all the girls are 12-year-old elf children who are all your sister, or whatever the topping the seasonal charts this season, okay? Okay? The idea that games are about having objectives and completing them. Frankly, that's all of life too. But games specifically, you're like, no, I like to make my own fun. Yeah, that's because the game gives you a framework with which to have that fun. Gary's Mod, perfect example. Does Gary's Mod have objectives? No, but you set goals for yourself. The quality of those goals, the excitement that people feel, I think, is in large part a product of how interesting the tools that you can use to achieve those goals are. Gary's Mod gives you no objectives, but it also gives you the ability to make a lot of really funny shit. And people can make gameplay modes that do have objectives. Minecraft is another perfect example. There are some goals in Minecraft. There are achievements, and there's the end dragon and blah, blah, but for the most part, they're self-created. Now, the question is, how good of a job did No Man's Sky do with giving people goals? Well, apart from reaching the center of the universe, which everyone knew was a time waster from the get-go, you go to a planet, you walk around, there's some procedurally generated dog shit, you mine your shit with the and then you go to your ship and you do it again. There's essentially nothing interesting at all that was presented in the original version of the game. I don't know much about how it is now, so I can't speak to it. But in its original version, what we quickly found was that go anywhere and do anything actually is really fucking boring. It's good to have like mechanics to engage with or systems to engage with. But if you guys really just want to play like a sim where you can play as a character in a big universe and do lots of stuff, you guys know for an absolute fact that like Starfield or whatever it's called is just going to be Skyrim, right? Like at some point you may do a big epic quest line to free the galaxy of some big corporation or do a thing or lead a revolution, but you know there's going to be like a couple of factions, and if you become the head of a faction, you get like, I don't know, a title or a bunch of money, or maybe you get access to like a special ability where you call in support troopers or whatever. But apart from that, you could finish the entire game, do all that crap, and you're still just one guy running around with your gun. You're going to go into caves and shoot people and get the loot or whatever. Like, it's not really an RPG, you know? In a real RPG, there would be meaningful changes to the gameplay based on the decisions that you've made, but we know what this is going to be. Wish we got more RPGs like Baldur's Gate. Yeah, that's what RPGs originally meant. RPGs used to be games that were about role-playing and decision-making. Not just games that have stat and level mechanics added on top of, like Skyrim doesn't have an RPG. No, it doesn't. You can choose the Nords or the Empire, and and there's a couple of you can choose whether to be mean when talking to people or what. It doesn't. There's not really. There's one path basically, maybe one or two branches. Whereas Baldur's Gate 3 or other games like Divinity Original Sin 2 or whatever, I mean, you're really doing RPGs. You're really making choices here.